Hello, my name is Sandra Whitney. In this video, I will be going through the main points of your lease agreement with the Rochester Housing Authority. You, the resident, will need to sign the agreement before moving into your unit. On your screen, you'll find the point of the agreement that is being explained. For example, what appears now is letting you know that we are in the introduction portion of the video. If you have any questions as we go through the lease, take notes on your paper agreement so you can discuss them with your housing specialist. Please watch this video through to the end, as some things may become more clear as the video progresses. Ready? Let's begin. Part 1 of the agreement explains the terms and conditions of the lease. We'll go over them point by point. 1. Use of the premises and household composition. Who can live in your unit and what you can do with it. At this point, the agreement explains what your unit can be used for. It tells us that you may only use the unit as a home for you and the people that are documented as part of your household in the second part of your lease. You may not use your unit for businesses or babysitting. If you would like to run a daycare from your home, you must request written permission from RHA. More on business will be explained in point 6. If you would like to add someone to your lease or to your household, with the exception of births, you must request permission from RHA. Make sure you wait for official approval before you move them in, or your lease may be terminated. Point 2 is titled Lease Terms and Amount of Rent, or how long is this agreement lasts and how you pay rent. This lease is valid for 1 year. When the year is up, you will need to renew your lease, which means you'll need to sign a new copy of Part 2 in your agreement. RHA will do some checking, and if all is well with your unit, your agreement and tenancy will be valid for another year. In addition, 4 months after you sign this lease, RHA will check to see each person in your household earns. If we find that you have declared untruthful income, your lease may be terminated and you will be required to vacate the property. You are expected to pay your full rent up front on the first day of every month. You may not pay only part of the rent or pay later than the 10th of each month. If you live in a family or senior unit, some of your utilities or all may be included. However, other sites you may be required to pay utilities like gas and electric. Maintenance fees accumulated due to damage beyond normal wear and tear will also be charged to you. If rent goes up, RHA will let you know a month before, and you can ask for this to be explained in a meeting following the RHA grievance procedure. RHA might increase your rent without letting you know if you don't hand in all your paperwork correctly. We will talk about rent some more in point 6. Point 3 describes other charges, or what you pay for other than your rent. Apart from rent, you may be charged for repairs for things that are carelessly broken in your unit or common areas, either by you or a guest of yours. If you have items like an air conditioner, you may be charged for an extra utility fee. In addition, if you pay rent after the 10th of each month, you will be required to pay a late fee. You will also pay a late fee if your rent check bounces, and if RHA needs to take you to court for non-payment of rent, resulting in a legal fee. Point 4 is about your security deposit. This is the money you pay at the start of the lease as you guarantee that you will leave the unit as you found it when you moved in. Before you move in, you must pay a security deposit. It will cost 1 month's rent, but will be no more than $100 for seniors and people with disabilities, or no more than $250 for families. If you are receiving assistance from DHS, the Rochester Housing Authority may require you to get a landlord-tenant agreement, which is explained in Part 2, Point 7 of your lease agreement. RHA will inspect your unit when you lease up. If at that time the unit is found to require extra cleaning or maintenance beyond normal wear and tear, you will not receive your deposit back when you move out. RHA also has the right to use your security deposit for unpaid rent, maintenance charges, late charges, legal fees, or to pay for the cost of cleaning out your unit. You may not use this security deposit to pay for rent while you are living in your unit. You will get your deposit back, less any charges, 30 days after you move out. RHA does require a forwarding address to send your deposit check to you. If your deposit is less than what you owe RHA after moving out, you will be required to pay RHA the additional money owed. Point 5 talks about utilities like electricity and appliances. Let's start with appliances. RHA may give you a cooking range and a refrigerator. If you are given one, they will replace it when it gets worn out. But if it is broken carelessly, you will have to pay for repairs. If you bring your own appliances into the unit, they must be in good condition and pass all necessary inspections. If your appliances are included in your rent, you must have written permission from RHA to install bigger appliances like air conditioners, freezers, washers, and dryers. If RHA does not supply utilities like electricity, natural gas, or heating fuel, you will receive an allowance to pay for them. RHA will check this allowance once a year and make changes if needed. RHA will let you know 30 days before the allowance changes. But what if your rent is less than the allowance? You may receive a utility reimbursement. If you are paying Department of Human Health and Services contract rent, RHA will not give you a utility allowance. And what are your responsibilities? This lease states that you agree not to waste the utilities that RHA gives you. Also, you may have renter's insurance or RHA insurance that will cover part of the cost if, for example, a pipe is broken in your home. However, you must pay the difference if the cost is more than your insurance offers. If you do not pay your utilities, your lease will be terminated and you may still be required to pay what you owe the utility company. Point 6 is conditions of occupancy, a list of conditions you must agree to if you sign this lease. In Part 2, you will make a list of the people that will be part of your household and listed on the lease, and this will give you the right to live with them in your home. You can have guests in your home for up to 14 days. If they will stay longer, you must ask for written permission from the site office manager. State lifetime sex offenders are never allowed to visit. If you want to run a legal business from your home, you must ask for written permission from RHA. RHA is not responsible for anything you store in your basement or storage area. They are also not responsible if something gets stolen from your home. For example, if your car gets stolen from your driveway, they're not responsible for things that get broken unless someone working for RHA broke it. You're not allowed to install things like swing sets, trampolines, bounce houses, dunk tanks, inflatable slides, especially swimming pools and wading pools in your unit or on RHA property. If you become ill and can't fulfill the responsibilities in this agreement, you must get someone to help you, or RHA may terminate the lease. If, for example, you are in the hospital, hospice, and are not able to occupy your home for at least 180 days of the year, your emergency contact will be given 1 month to clean out the unit. If you pass away, your emergency contact will have until the end of the month to clean the unit out. Once a year, a recertification will be conducted for your household so RHA can ensure your rent payment is correct and your unit is the right fit for your family. If people living in your unit changes, for example, if someone moves out or if someone gets a raise, you must let your housing manager know before 10 days are up. This may affect your rent. In most cases, rent will not change during the year unless someone new with a job comes to live in the unit, your salary is cut by more than $200, or you receive a salary increase. You must advise RHA of your raise within 10 days of receiving it. Your rent may also change if federal law or regulations change. Please make sure to give them all the correct information at your management office. If you do not, or if you forgot to inform them of the change that affects your rent, RHA will charge any unpaid dollars that accumulate. So you may be charged for prorated rent. If your rent needs to be lowered, you will start paying the new rate the month after RHA agrees to lower it. If your rent lowered for any reason, and then you're given a raise at work, you are required to inform RHA within 10 days. In this instance, your rent will be raised not the first month after you advised, but the second. If your unit is no longer a good fit for your family, RHA may move you to another unit. For example, this may happen if a member of your family has a disability and you need a different design. Maybe another family has a member with a disability and your unit is a better fit for them. In that case, you may be moved to accommodate another tenant. Point 6 in your lease includes 3 more things. First, you must not use your basements to live or sleep in. Secondly, you must live in the unit at least 6 months out of the year. And third, every person living in your unit over 18 must complete all required housing and urban development, community service, and economic self-sufficiency activities unless you qualify for an exemption. Please check with your housing specialist. Point 7, RHA obligates to tenant as landlords. It lists the things RHA agrees to do as your landlord in this lease. RHA will maintain your unit so it is a safe and healthy place for your family. They will make repairs to the unit and keep the appliances and facilities running, including elevators and heating. They will also make sure the building and all common areas around the units are safe and clean. They will provide and maintain garbage services. They will give you the cold and hot water you will need according to the season and the laws in your area. If RHA needs to enter your unit, they will let you know. If you have concerns, an RHA representative will be available to speak with you. If you have a disability, RHA will make sure your lease affords you the necessities you require. Any tenant who is a threat to other people or to people that work at RHA will be evicted. That also includes your visitors. Point 8 is tenants' obligations to RHA, the responsibilities you have as a tenant resident. First, you must follow all the RHA rules and regulations that are outlined in this agreement. Your unit is a home for you and your household, nothing else. You may not pass your lease on to another person or rent out your room to anybody else. You agree to respect the rights of other tenants by following your building and RHA rules. Remember to speak to your neighbors and RHA employees politely and to remind your family and guests to do the same. You are responsible if anyone in your unit is engaged in criminal activities or drug-related criminal activities that would be a result of termination of your lease. If you break anything in your unit or in common areas, you are responsible for the cost of the repairs. You're not allowed to redecorate or build on the inside or outside of your unit and must ask for written permission if you would like to install big appliances. Please do not use nails, screws, tacks, or fasteners in your units. RHA recommends using command strips to avoid marking the walls. Remember that any changes that you make in the unit must stay in the unit when you leave. It is also your responsibility to prevent fires by not keeping flammable things in your home. If someone in your family needs an oxygen tank, you must advise RHA and put a sign outside your unit that says you have one in the house. TV antennas and satellite dishes may be allowed depending on your unit. Please get permission from your management office in advance. If you're going on a trip and will be leaving the unit for more than 2 weeks, you must advise RHA beforehand. RHA also has a pet policy which states that no one in your unit has an animal that isn't allowed or certified for use by a disabled person. If you have a car that doesn't have a valid registration or doesn't run, you must remove it from the property. You're not permitted to make car repairs or make oil changes on site. Make sure you park your car in a place that are permitted. If RHA has to tow your car, you will be charged. If you move out, you are responsible for taking all your personal things with you when you leave. Anything you leave for more than 3 days will be disposed of. Remember to leave all your keys at the management office when you vacate the property, or you'll be charged a minimum of $79 or more. Rent will also continue to be charged until all keys are received. Also, read the RHA housekeeping standards and do what it takes to keep your home clean and safe. If you need something repaired or made safe in your unit or common areas, please let RHA know as soon as possible. Check to see if you're responsible for your lawn and snow removal at your unit. If so, RHA needs to take care of it you will be charged a fee. Water beds or any other furniture that causes damage to the unit should not be used. You may not receive help from any other housing assistance program while you are under this lease. And, of course, you are expected not to commit fraud against any housing assistance program. Point 9, possession of firearms. Explains to us which guns are allowed. You may have a handgun in your home if it is registered and you have a New York State permit. You must present the gun's paperwork every year when you renew your lease. Guns of any type must have safeties and must be kept unloaded, far away from children, teenagers, and guests, in a different place from where you store the bullets. Your guests are not allowed to bring guns to RHA property unless they are police officers. No one is allowed to show or point a gun at anyone on RHA property. All automatic, semi-automatic rifles, machine guns, or assault weapons are strictly forbidden. Point 10 describes what happens when something breaks in their unit that makes it difficult to live there and who is responsible for what. RHA will fix whatever is broken once you let them know. It is difficult for you to live in your home while repairs take place, then we will offer you a temporary unit. You must move into the unit if it is offered. If you or your family is responsible for whatever has been broken, RHA may not offer you another unit to live in, and you may be charged for the repairs and replacement parts. RHA's insurance will cover damages to the unit for instances such as fire, but it will not cover your personal items unless the damages were caused by RHA. It is highly recommended that you purchase renter's insurance to protect your belongings. RHA tenants are responsible for letting the site manager know as soon as something breaks. Please note that you will still be required to pay rent while your unit is being fixed. Point 11 in your lease agreement explains when and how your unit will be inspected. There will be an inspection when you move in, one after you move out of the unit, a housing quality standard inspection by HUD once per year, and as well as other inspections to check for things that need fixing, housekeeping, etc. Point 12 explains in what situations RHA employees will be permitted to come into your home. RHA will let you know 2 days prior if they must come into your home. If you have requested a repair, then notice for entry by RHA is not required. Emergency situations where immediate action is required will be the only other time RHA will come into your home unannounced or without permission. Note, you must let authorized people like repairmen or RHA employees in during the day from 8:30 to 4:30 at any time if they think there is an emergency. Point 13 explains how RHA will let you know what's going on. Notices will be delivered to your unit or sent by mail addressed to you. Even if you send it back to RHA, do not sign for it or open it, we will consider it received. If you must advise RHA of anything, you should also send them a written notice through the mail or hand deliver it to the site or central office. Point 14 gives you examples of why your lease could be terminated. You will be evicted if you don't respect the rules described in your lease agreement. In most cases, you will be sent a written notice 1 month before the official termination of your lease. You have responsibilities as a tenant, as we spoke about in point 8, and you must do as the agreement states. If RHA makes any changes to your lease, they will let you know 2 months before. After that, you must comply with the changes. In addition, when you renew your annual lease agreement, you may be required to submit papers or certifications. You must hand these in on time. If you do not, your lease renewal will not be accepted. If you damage your unit, cause a fire, do not keep your smoke detectors working, or if you are a danger to other people on the site, RHA will end your lease. It is also critically important to comply with your HUD community service so your lease is not terminated. If you or someone in your household have been selling, using drugs, or have drugs in your unit, or if you cook meth or have been or are sent to prison for drug-related charges, your lease will be terminated immediately. Alcoholism, guns without licenses, harboring a fugitive, a felon, a parole violator, or a sex offender in your unit, even as a guest, will result in immediate termination of your lease. If this occurs, you will have 30 days to leave the unit, depending on how serious the offense. You will always receive a written notice from RHA letting you know if your lease will be terminated or will not be renewed. In cases, you have the right to consult with a lawyer and ask RHA to explain why this has happened in a meeting. This process is outlined in the Rochester Housing Authority grievance procedure. Don't worry, your lease will not be terminated until your grievance has been resolved. However, you will be required to pay any rent due after the hearing concludes. If your lease is terminated because someone in your unit is found to have a criminal record, RHA will send a copy of this record to you if requested. RHA may also send you a notice to vacate. This notice gives you a certain time to leave the unit. If you do not respect the notice, you will be charged extra fees. In some cases, RHA is not required to give explanation through the grievance procedure. If this happens, it will say so in your written notice. It will also describe the eviction proceeding that is required to be followed and let you know if this is an eviction due to criminal activity. Depending on how serious the offense, RHA may decide that one of your household members must leave the unit, so the rest of you can stay. On the other hand, if you wish to terminate the lease due to this incident, you can do so by sending a written notice a full month prior or before the first of the month, as explained in point 7 of your lease agreement. Point 15 explains what happens if RHA doesn't take immediate action when you violate your lease agreement. If this happens, it does not mean that RHA loses the right to take action. At the end of Part 1 of the lease agreement, you agree with RHA that you have read all of Part 1 and 2, and that when you sign in Part 2, you promise to respect and adhere to all points. There is an extra set of rules in the non-smoking addendum that explains everything to do with smoking, and this is considered part of your lease agreement. You're not allowed to smoke cigarettes, cigars, or pipes of any kind in non-smoking areas. You are not allowed to smoke inside any Rochester Housing Authority buildings. This includes your unit and common areas like community rooms, bathrooms, hallways, laundry rooms, offices, or stairwells. The property manager of your site may decide that some outdoor areas are non-smoking too, like balconies or patios. You must adhere to all posted non-smoking signage. These rules are for you, your household, and your guests. You must let your guests know, as this is part of your responsibility. RHA is not responsible for your health because of this no smoking policy. The first time you're caught smoking in your unit, you'll receive a notice. The second time, you will receive a notice and a bill for up to $250. The third time you are notified will result in the termination of your lease. In addition, tampering with smoke detectors in your unit or common areas will give RHA probable cause to terminate your lease. We hope that you found this informational video helpful in understanding your lease agreement with us and what RHA is going to offer you. If you have any questions, please discuss them with your housing specialist before signing. Thank you very much, and we want to welcome you to your new home.